Hello everybody, and welcome to another wonderful lesson with Mr. Weezy. So, continuing on with triangles. Been dealing with similarity. We got into similarity, which is triangles in general, and then into specific right triangles, how that all works together. Here we're just going to look at, okay, how can we put these different proportions of triangles together? How do things match up? So, geometric mean of 4 and 18, if we multiply those, 4 times 18 is 72. When you square root it, that's where we got that 6 square root of 2, which was like 8.49 or something like that, if I remember right. See if I can find it in my calculator if it's still there yet. Yes, 8.49. So, Theorem 7.4. If a line is parallel to one side of the triangle and it intersects the other two sides, then it divides those sides proportionally. So this is what we're talking about. If we have a line that's cutting through here that's parallel with the bottom, this part over this part, so the top over the bottom on this side will equal the top over the bottom on that side. They will be the same ratio. Now, I'm sorry if you're disappointed if we don't do this proof, but I figured, you know what? We've done proofs long enough. You can just kind of look at this one, and we're going to keep moving on. So, we're going to use that then to find this value of x. And I probably should have made that bigger, and I'm sorry. So to do this, we're looking at our top part here, which is TS, over this bottom part of SR. Now, you don't necessarily need to write this down, but if it makes it less confusing, go for it, please. The other side, we would have TU over UV. So now we can fill in. Well, TS here is x. SR is going to be 16. TU is 5. UV is 10. So essentially what we're doing here is the top over the bottom, on the other side then top over the bottom. Simple enough. Cross multiply and solve. 10 times x would be 10x. 5 times 16 is 80. So if we divide by 10, x equals 8. And it's that simple. So the biggest part here, guys, is setting up your proportion. Make sure you get the right setup. From there, you're just solving proportions, something that you've done for a while. So we have a corollary that adds on to that. If we have 3 parallel lines intersecting 2 transversals, then the segments intercepted on the transversals are proportional. So think A and B, so in between these 2 parallel lines and to these 2 parallel lines, and C over D, these two will also work. So if we have multiple parallel lines cutting through here, as long as these transversals are straight lines cutting through, they will all be proportional however you stack them up, these sides compared to these sides. So like here on a sailboat. Sailmakers sometimes use computers to create a pattern for a sail. After they cut out the panels of the sail, they then sew them together to form the sail. The edges of the panels in the sail at the right are parallel, so find the lengths of x and the y. So that was a lot of sails and patterns and all that going on. Basically what this is saying is these are all going to be parallel cutting through. Obviously except for the green triangle at the bottom, but that's just how it works. So like these first 2 would be the same ratio as these here 2. These 2, these 2, these 2, these 2. Heck, we could do the top one and the bottom as long as we do the top one and the bottom over there. As long as we pick the same 2 parts of each segment, we're going to be fine. So, need to find x. Well, we'd only use these 2 and these 2 because this one has a y and this one has an x and we're not going anywhere. We're just going to use the top 2 here. So on the left side, we would have 2 over x. On the right side, we're going to have 1.7 over 1.7. Well, heck, if the top and bottom are the same, we can just say x equals 2. Why go through and solve if it's that obvious? For the x, though, we're going to use these 2 and we're going to use these 2. So 3 over 2 would be y over 1.7. Here it's not quite a matchup, so we're going to do our cross multiplying solving. So 2y would equal, see, 7 times 3 is 21. So 5.1 divided by 2. Y would then be 2.5. 5. So, find things that match up. Again, setting up that proportion is the main thing that you have to worry about. So make sure you're getting it set up correctly. So we have one more theorem here in this chapter. Theorem 7.5, which is the triangle angle bisector theorem. If a ray bisects an angle of a triangle, then it divides the opposite side into two segments that are proportional to the other two sides of the triangle. So, again, I'm just going to give you the proof. You can go through, read through it, kind of see how it's flowing. Basically, the idea is that as long as this angle is bisected up here, this side over this side would match up with this side over this side. They're going to be that same proportion. So if we're dealing with here, we have our angle bisector. We have one line on either side, so we know that's splitting it. Splitting that angle. So we could do the left side of 8 over x equal to the right side of 5 over 6. Cross multiply and solve. I am off the screen. I am sorry. So I did 8 over x on the left side, right side of 5 over 6. Just as you see in the picture. When we cross multiply and solve, we get 5x equaling 48. And if you divide by 5, x equals 9.6. And we're done. And guess what? We're also done with the chapter. So that means next thing you're going to hit is you're going to get a little quiz. And then we'll do the study guide. And that'll be it for this chapter. And then we'll jump into chapter 8. We'll go from there. So, questions, comments, concerns, please send me a message on Google Classroom or my email. Or you can pan me as well. Just know that pans I don't respond to as often. I don't check that as often, so it might be a little bit before I respond compared to the other two. But until next time, we'll talk to you later, guys.